California Spring Trials is Fashion Week for our industry, or maybe you can think of it like the auto show. A chance to see many of the coolest new products available for upcoming seasons. Dozens of global breeding companies and innovative plant introduction companies set up along the California coast in early spring to showcase new crops that have been in development for years, even decades. New series, additions, upgrades, and sometimes brand new plants are grown out and discussed in detail for the better part of a week to drive interest from visiting growers, retailers, and distribution companies. It's also a time to catch up with old friends, solidify strategic partnerships, and revel in the beauty created by our industry. We've done this for decades and we'll do it again in 2026 from March 24th to 27th. Registration is managed by the National Garden Bureau and you can sign up to secure your spot at caspringtrials.us. In fact, registration is essential. A quick reminder before we get started. New for this year, if you're visiting a location with more than one exhibiting company, like most of them, registration by location means you register for all companies when you schedule your appointment at caspringtrials.us. But be sure to allocate plenty of time for stops with multiple companies. One click doesn't mean one quick visit. Take, for example, the Head Start Nursery Stop or the Santa Barbara Polo Club. You can register for the location, but you'll need to allocate time for all of the exhibiting companies, and that can mean as many as 100 new varieties. Last but not least, check out the suggested itineraries at caspringtrials.us. If 2026 will be your first time visiting the trials, or you haven't been in a few years, they will be very helpful. Let's hear about some of the things you'll see and experience at Spring Trials this year. I'm your host, Bill Calkins, and today, as part of our Spring Trials preview mini-series, I'm here with Kathy McKay from Schoneveld to hear about what the company has in store for us this March in California. It will be a quick conversation, but hopefully it inspires you to register and start thinking ahead as you plan your crop mix for the future. Kathy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Bill, for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Definitely. And I think I've been saying it a lot over this mini-series, and I'll continue to say it, that every trial location is unique. So can you tell us a little bit about where Schoneveld is located on the tour stops? And I know it's very unique. And then maybe if you want to tease your theme a little bit, we'd love to hear what your team's working on.
Yeah, so we are located at the Greenfuse location, Greenfuse Grove in Somis. And we always like to call ourselves the fun stop. So you're either your first stop of the trip or we're the last stop of your trip. So either way, you end up with a lot of fun. We have a lot of great energy with the companies that are there. We have Beacon Camp, Schoneveld, Quality Plants, Westoff, and of course, Greenfuse at this location, and Hem Genetics. And so we're a great group. There's something for everybody at this stop. We work really well together as a group and just have so much fun. It's a great week and I look forward to it. This year's theme, and I'll give all credit to Bart Hayes from Westoff, is feeling grovey because it is a lemon grove that we're at. As most of you who have come know that we always have fresh squeezed lemonade from the lemons out of there. And so, yeah, we're doing feeling grovey. And so we're leaning into our retro Austin Powers kind of vibe.
That's cool. I can picture it now. I know that we will have fun making a video there. I'm sure that we'll try our best Austin Powers impressions and probably
totally
fail.
Want to see Chris in some like Austin Powers jacket, you know.
I bet he owns one. Chris, of all people, probably owns one.
I wouldn't be surprised. And it's not a Halloween costume either for him.
No, that's true. That is very, very true. I love it. You guys do always have a fun vibe at your stop. I remember visiting last year. There was a lot of energy. You guys all clearly get along very well. So thinking back to last year, for Schoneveld, what was one big hit from the 2025 trial?
It's hard to pinpoint just one because Schoneveld is known for the quality of their products that they put out. But I would say probably their blue cyclamen. It was revolutionary, brand new, never had been seen in the world of cyclamen, a blue, horticultural blue cyclamen. And it has been a fantastic seller and people have really welcomed to it. And at the retail, it's sold through really well.
It doesn't surprise me. It was stunning. You know, it was one of those on a pedestal in the display. You stop, you look at it, you hear the story. And you and I were talking before we started recording that there's a ton of breeding that went into that over years and years, even a decade of breeding that went into that. And I think that's one of the things that's probably unsung in our industry is the amount of work that goes into a revolutionary new product like that, don't you think?
I totally agree with you. Sometimes the unsung heroes are the breeders because there's a lot of rejection to get that one yes and product that moves forward. Obviously, once you get a series going, you can see, and it's easier to add like our Joybra series with our Gerbras. Once we had the first set core, it's much, I'll say easier. I'm sure they disagree with me, but it's easier to know what the traits are and to continue to add colors to it. And that's something that Schoneveld does really well. When they introduce a series, and they wait until they have it correct within a series. Like we have 23 series of cyclamen. So we have something for everyone. I know it's crazy. Even I find it crazy. But, if you go in and let's just say you get an allure, which is like, I'll call our workhorse a cyclamen.
Okay.
It is, that plant's going to be uniform. It's going to flower uniformly. You're not going to have to pick through it. And Schoneveld is known for that, for their seed quality all the way through the quality of the finished plant and the growing of the plant. We really pride ourselves on our technical support after the sale as well. So it's the breeders they are why we do what we do.
Excellent. Excellent. I love hearing breeder shout outs. I think we need to do it more often. And can you tell the listeners a little bit, and you've been doing this a while, what it takes to put on an event like spring trials at your location? And as importantly, what will attendees gain from visiting your site? And you did mention already the technical support. I know that is a big part of it, but what do you think attendees should expect to walk away with when they visit Schoneveld? And how long have you been working on the trial?
Yeah. Now, first and foremost, Bill, I'm only 29. So I've only been doing this. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, I have been doing the spring trials for a very, very long time. And it's an event that we look forward to in North America because we not only see people from the States, but we see people from all over the world. And so people will say in Australia or Europe, they understand the significance and the importance of being able to drive up and down the one and see the beautiful California, but also to see customers and to be able to, spend some time with them and be able to just learn more about our market as North America, which is completely different than the rest of the world. So, putting on the event starts, especially with cyclamen, because as soon as the show's over, actually, while I'm still at the show, I'm already writing the program for the next year because cyclamen, as we know, is a long crop time. And some of these bigger pots that we do, it takes 30 weeks plus. So you already have to know what you're going to show for the next year and make sure that everything is going. Now, as far as for the theme, we sit down as a location and talk about it before we leave about what we think we might want. And we have several meetings throughout the course of the year to talk about it. But it's so much fun to plan for this event. And we're really looking forward. We're highlighting this year our new big item is going to be cyclamen sweet lips, which is a two-tone pink color. And so it's fun to come up with the marketing that goes around that to really highlight that item and to bring people into the booth to see that our retro ideas of things.
And you guys always do a really good job with the marketing and the whole story around the exciting new products. And you just shouted out that new introduction that we're going to see in March. Any other sneak peeks or anything else the team's really excited to show off in 2026?
Yeah, so in addition to the sweet lips, which we're super excited about that plant, we also have our Gerbera that we introduced a few years ago called Joybra, and we'll continue to highlight that series. It's been such a nice uniform series, great for floral or for landscape, and growers have really gravitated towards that series and have really picked it up and embraced it. And we appreciate the support that we've gotten from it, but people are seeing how good the quality is of that series. So we'll definitely have that as a highlight. Of course, cyclamen is our main core business, but we do primula and ranunculus and things like that. So everybody will get a little taste of a few things.
That's awesome. And if you do go into the Schoneveld stop and get blown away by the cyclamen, don't forget to ask about these other crops as well, because I think that's a good point, is that you guys are experts in a lot of crops that I consider high value crops that can make growers and retailers some good monies.
Yeah, Definitely. It's really nice to be able to focus on that because we are early season crops for the most part, with the exception of the Gerbera. The Joybera is our one crop that is kind of out of our mainstream, but we have, varieties like Gaultheria, which I will say thought it was crazy when the breeders came to us and were like, yeah, we're going to do Gaultheria. And I thought, who sat in the room decided we were going to do Gaultheria? But they took what you and I had talked about before, Bill, which was to take a product that's out there in the market and what is that the grower needs to do a better job, not only for themselves to make it easier, but also for the end consumer. And they did that. It's less seeds per cell. It has less issues with disease. And, Schoneveld, that's what they focus on, how to make things easier, how to be environmentally and sustainable. And, we not only talk about it, but we live that message. And not only in our plants, but in how we run our business back at home. We have at our greenhouse, we are sustainable all the way through 2020, all current laws. We have biofuel that we use from across the street. We have solar panels on our back of our property. Our water, even if we didn't have water for 2 years, we still have water because everything is recycled. So, I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of that fact. I'm also very proud about our facility that we have in Tanzania, where we also have medical and schools that we support there. And we have 450 students from the little village.
Cool.
Yeah, 450 kids that are part of that. And a lot of them are from employees of the facility, but a lot of them are just from the village. And they come every day for school and they learn English. And many of them have went on to, higher education as well. So we're very proud of that. So we like to think that we're here for not just to sell plants.
No, it's so true. It's the plants, it's the people, it's our planet. I think it all comes together. I love that you called that out, but also going back to the intentional breeding to solve problems. I think that is very critical. And some of these are stories I think you'll only get at spring trials because you do not have time to hear that story in a trade show booth or walking a field trial or just catching up somewhere. And I think that is one of the values of spring trials. If you're interested in any of those points that Kathy made, ask about them and learn more about the companies that supply our industry.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time today, Bill. And like Bill mentioned, come by, stop by and see me. We have lots of nice seating to sit around and, have a nice glass of lemonade while you're feeling grovey. And, we can talk about what can help your system and your greenhouse, or just have a chat about how nice the weather is in California.
Absolutely. And it's very cold where I'm at right now. I'm looking forward to it already. It sounds fantastic. I really am looking forward to seeing your trial in March. So, Kathy, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Bill.
And now is the time to head over to the National Garden Bureau registration site at caspringtrials.us. You'll find a link in the show notes. Get registered, bring a bunch of people from your team. One thing I've learned from attending the trials for about 20 years is that everyone has a different eye when it comes to new varieties. So don't forget to subscribe to the Tech on Demand podcast on your favorite app, and that way you will never miss an episode.